Hello and welcome to another video. Today, my name is JD. David has stepped out of the office and had asked me to jump in and do some interviews with one of our top producers. Just a little context, I'm actually a full-time face-to-face agent myself. I'm actually a rookie agent. So if that makes this a little bit more interesting, kind of going what I call an agent-to-agent interview here. We're both new to the business, but again, it's my job to go over how Josh's week was. He kicked some butt out there out in the field, and we just want to get some more details about how his week went. So Josh, welcome.
Hey there, how's it going?
All right, man. So just a little background or context, Josh, can you tell us how did you end up in the insurance industry to begin with?
I've been in sales for about 11 years now, since I was 18 years old. And just one of my buddies that I've known from one of my previous jobs, he hit me up and said, I've started doing this opportunity. He's actually working for a different agency
Sure.
that he recruited me into, but he just said, I think you'd be great at this. So I just went for it. Honestly, that's about it. I signed up for my license, took the test, passed it, and then, ended up not really liking the place where I was at before. I won't say the name of it, but, I think we all know. And then, I just came across DuFord Insurance Group and sent an email to David, and the rest is history.
Excellent. So let me ask you then, Josh, because you started with another agency, it's pretty common what we're seeing folks coming in, either they're brand new off the street with no experience in insurance or sales, or maybe they were at another agency for a brief period of time and things just didn't go the way they were hoping to. Can you maybe elaborate on what you experienced there and the reason why you ended up going over to DuFord Insurance Group?
Sure. So, I was there for about a month, just kind of, information overload when you start doing this thing. And after about that amount of time, I kind of saw where I may want to go with this business in regards to what types of products I'm selling and who I'm selling it to.
Sure.
So I kind of brought up, a couple questions I had in regards to that to my upline, and got shut down pretty quick. Basically got told that you don't need to worry about that. Don't focus on that. Just focus on this. So that just got my wheels turning. I started doing a little research, and the more I learned about the industry, the more I realized that I probably just wasn't in the best place, because they're kind of more worried about themselves than anything.
And what was it that they were wanting you to focus on that you didn't feel like it was a good fit for you at that time?
So I was kind of curious about, healthcare, Medicare, going that road, because I could see the residual income on that type of product.
Sure.
How that could be good long term. So as soon as I brought up healthcare, they just were like, "Oh, you don't want to sell healthcare. There's no money in it. Self-final it's term and all that kind of stuff." And
got it.
it just seemed weird to me.
Understood. Okay. And then prior to insurance to begin with, what were you doing before that?
So right before it, I was selling tools over the phone. So I'd been doing that for about 6 years or so, and training guys how to do that, calling truckers, farmers, people like that around the country, and just selling them tools. So it's a real easy transition, going from cold calling those guys into essentially warm calling, these people that we're calling now.
Okay.
Nice change.
Would you say, though, that it would be essential that somebody coming into this industry would have to have some type of a sales experience to get started? Has that helped you, or is it required, or what are your thoughts on that?
I know it's greatly helped me out, just because, again, I'm used to cold calling people that had no idea that anybody was going to call them. It was definitely helpful, because I already knew how to navigate, the phone and objection handling and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
But, it's not rocket science. It's nothing crazy that we're dealing with here. So I definitely wouldn't say it's necessary by any means.
Sure. Okay. Got it. So let's do this, because the point of this was to discuss in detail about your week, that you had success. And by the way, I don't know if you looked at the leaderboard, you beat me out I was right behind you on the leaderboard.
Yeah.
So kudos goes to you for sure. Can you just walk us through your week and kind of tell us the details about how that went for you?
Sure. So, it was just an ordinary week, to be honest. I dialed Monday through Saturday. I don't sit down and start dialing any later than 8 o'clock in the morning. That's my, if I'm not in my chair by then I'm in trouble. And just stay on task is really it. Just dial, pitch every person, the same as the last person. Don't prejudge leads. Yeah, I couldn't say there's any real special thing I'm doing other than just working.
Sure. So would you say that this week compared to the other weeks, your inputs have been the same, but for, the outputs are always going to vary, right? And this, would you say your inputs were consistent and then just the outputs just had a great week, or how has it been going for you since you've been started?
Yeah, I'm kind of in a little transition period right now because of basically where I'm getting my leads from. So I
Okay.
recently started self-generating on Facebook, which definitely put a dampener in, my volume, to be honest. Even that week is not an
Sure.
impressive week for me,
Okay.
but I've been kind of trying to, secure my lead source and kind of get that flowing consistently, which is
Okay.
another big with this, I would say, is lead flow is key.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question to you. As far as leads go, how important is that to your business? What have you done in the past, and kind of what is your plan moving forward, or maybe your recommendation to new agents?
Yeah, it's probably the most important thing with this, because if you don't have new, fresh people to talk to, then you're not going to be selling much of anything. And I would say because I know there's a lot of hype around the self-gen stuff right now.
Mhm.
So don't do what I did, what I did was too much at once. I switched agencies, and then I also quit buying leads, started just straight self-generating.
Okay.
And yeah, like I said, it kind of screwed me up for the month of June, to be honest.
Yeah,
That
and
whole month.
I can attest to the same thing. I was in a situation as a face-to-face agent. I was relying both on digital leads and direct mail, and I kind of had gotten to a point where I was getting behind on my direct mail. So I'd hit pause on them, and then, man, I'll tell you what, the dominoes that fell with doing that. And then I had a couple of my digital lead campaigns that kind of came in slower than expected, and then I had a dry spell of leads. And man, that for sure will affect your production, your mentality, kind of your whole momentum, right? Would you agree?
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, affects everything.
Well, what would you say then would be, maybe not necessarily specifically to that week, what would you say has been the biggest challenge, aside the leads thing that we had already alluded to? If somebody was considering going into telesales, maybe they're in face-to-face, or maybe they're new together, like what are some of the challenges that you face in doing that?
Just in this business in general, you're asking?
Yeah, or specifically to telesales, because I'm coming from a face-to-face guy. Like if it looks sexy over there, right? I want to go to telesales. I don't have to drive around and go into some of these not great conditions in these homes. Like, it can be glamorous at times, but tell us the reality of it. What are the challenges behind it?
Yeah, I mean, it's a grind. It's not easy. It's I haven't done face-to-face for this in particular, but I've done face-to-face sales. And you don't have as much to work with, in person. You have your body language and your eye contact and all those sorts of things to help you out. Whereas with this, all you have is your voice. Tim talks about it all the time. So you really just, you got to put a performance on. You have to show interest in what these people are saying to you, sound engaged, because they've just got off the phone with probably 30 other people trying to sell the same thing you're trying to sell. So the key is really just to make yourself stand out, keep them on the phone long enough to basically get them into an application. It's kind of how I look at it.
Got it. Okay. And then what would you say, what do you enjoy most about being a telesales agent?
Probably the freedom, as far as don't have to answer to anybody per se. I don't have to show up in some particular spot at some particular time.
Mhm.
And but with that comes a great deal of responsibility. Obviously, now it's all on you, which, like I said earlier, I'd hold myself accountable, make sure I'm in my seat by 8 o'clock, just as if I was working somewhere else, and just putting in the time.
Okay, got it. So one of the things that you had mentioned there was Tim, which is our telesales coach mentor that we have in our program. Kind of a new way that we've been doing things since the beginning of the year, where each new agent's kind of assigned a coach that, number one, they've got experience writing business underneath their own pen, and number two, they also have a track record of training other agents and coaching other agents to be successful out in the field. So can you describe what it's been like working with Tim and how integral that has been for you in being successful? Do you think you would have been successful without him, like just independent study only, or give us some feedback on that?
Yeah, no, Tim's been great. If I'm being honest, I haven't really taken advantage too much of the sales training part of it, just because I came in already with the script that's been working for me. I was producing good business before I showed up here. But anything that I have needed, I mean, Tim's, response to text messages, phone calls, he'll offer to have one-on-one meetings as much as I feel like I need to. So he's been nothing but, available and very helpful since I have joined.
Okay, got it. Yeah, and I'd probably echo a lot of the same sentiment that you have. So I'm in the face-to-face program, and my coach is David Heath. And I can tell you, like, I'm 6 months into the game. I still will call him on occasion, even in the client's house where I'm writing an application. I've got a question about a medical condition or certain medication or something that I just may not be certain about, and I want to get some clarification. He's almost always on the phone or calling me back within just a couple minutes. And that's really been critical for me, and has helped me close some deals out in the field. So it's been helpful to me as well. But let me ask you this, Josh. Right now, there's probably somebody watching this video that is out there in the field. And when I say in the field, in your case, in telesales, maybe they're struggling, maybe they're thinking about throwing in the towel. What advice can you give them? Have you been in that situation yourself? What can they change, or what kind of would be the building blocks of where they can kind of pick themselves up and make themselves successful and kind of reach your level?
Well, first of all, if I could do it, you could do it. The way I look at it. But also, I mean, that's just, I think we tend to do that, especially in sales. You get in your own head and you have maybe even one bad day or one bad phone call, and then all of a sudden just the whole world is ending. I don't know how to sell insurance anymore. What am I going to do with my life? And that's just all where it is just in your head. So there's basically the basics. Go back to the basics, pull your script out, keep it in front of you, act like you don't know anything, because you don't, and just pitch people, and it'll come together for you if you put in the time and stick to the program.
Excellent. Yeah, and I would probably say something similar. My experience has been, I feel like the people that are successful in the business, what it takes to be successful is probably like 20% head knowledge of the script and underwriting and the process and your sales skills and et cetera. And then 80% of it is just activity, like just getting out there. I think of it in baseball terms, right? Just getting as many bats as you possibly can. But in addition to that, I want to say that your mentality or your confidence level that you're carrying around can also impact you, right? And because you never want to give off the odor of a desperate salesman, right? You want to maintain your confidence in the situation and to help carry you through some of those times. So, well, good, man. Last question here. What would you say then if somebody were watching this, they're not licensed, they're thinking about being licensed, or maybe they're at an agency that's maybe not giving them the best results or training or things, like any advice for that new agent on who's just not sure where to go right now?
Yeah, I mean, just go for it, I guess, because that's what I did. I knew nothing about it. Obviously, I knew life insurance existed, but besides that, I knew nothing of the industry, how it worked, how it was sold. I just was completely ignorant and just took a leap of faith. And so, I mean, if you're considering it, go for it, or else you'll probably kick yourself in the butt if you don't.
Got it. Excellent advice. And I guess one more thing I could tack on to that. Is there anything that somebody would need to maybe have prepared prior to getting involved? Like obviously the licensing and the E&O insurance, but what about a budget, or like, with telesales, the ability just to be ready to sit on the phone and listen to the phone ring for 8 to 12 hours a day, or anything else specific in that regard?
Yeah, I mean, I started off with $500 for my first batch of leads. I bought some $4 aged internet leads from some vendor, and they're garbage, but that's how I got started, and I've been playing with house money ever since. So maybe that for that part of it, and other than that, just lots of YouTube. Do your homework, show up prepared. Before I ever got on the phone, I had already revised a script. Watched countless YouTube videos, been up all night every night for a couple months. And I think just preparation is where it's at on all this. If you just prepare yourself, do the homework, then it all kind of come together for you.
Excellent, man. Well, listen, Josh, I want to thank you for all your time today and congratulate you once again on your success. Evidently, that was just a taste of the success that you've been hitting with us. So that's awesome as well. And I wish you nothing but continued success in the future.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, thank you. If for anybody who's interested in learning more about DeFord Insurance Group, make sure you check us out, daviddeford.com. And we'll look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.